Hi.
Hi, Anand. Thank you. And
Hi,
thank you,
hi.
Deepthi, for hosting this. So, how's it been going?
It is doing well. Things are quite good. We write a lot. How are you doing?
All right, all right. So, you're stuck at home and you have to write a lot. So, that's good for us.
So the
Okay.
last chapter of this thing, Queen of Mahishmati is getting
The
ready.
last one. Yes, yes. We're all very
Last one, as
excited.
you know, is the toughest.
Great. So, we're going to talk about that later. But first, I just wanted to talk about the series in general first before going to Chaturanga. And
Yeah.
so when you were approached with this project, I mean, of course, Bahubali by then was already like this incredibly huge film already by then. So when they came to you and said we want to do a prequel, and dealing with characters that clearly there's so many people who identify with or love, or they already exist in people's minds. How did you feel about that? Was that a little intimidating, or how did you feel about
It even now it is very intimidating. It's not
it?
that
Yeah,
then it was intimidating because
yeah,
as you know, this is not done. This has not been done many times. Perhaps Star Wars might be one example. Other than that,
right,
not many a times it has been done across the world. Maybe you can count in your fingers how many of them have been done. And it's not just novelization. It's not like Oman where first film came and then you novelize it. It is like
right.
writing a prequel to an already popular film,
Yes, yeah.
and these are two different mediums. Film is one medium. The kind of people who enjoy films, it's a superset.
Right.
A lot of readers will go and watch the films, but not all film buffs will come and read books.
For
And
sure, yeah.
but this is something which you'll have to please both, right?
Yeah.
People who have already watched the film and avid readers also. And then I have my own fan base, which is based on the kind of books I write. This is totally different from that. This is
Yeah.
not Ramayana or Mahabharata retelling or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is like this has to be written like a thriller rather than the other. I had more space for philosophy, thoughts, counterpoints, arguments.
Yeah.
Here it has to be like playing T20. You have to hit six only every ball.
Right.
Because it's intimidating, really intimidating. Because this is a pakka 100% meant for entertainment, and so you had to underline some philosophy and all, but it's not a reflective book. It's rather like a thriller. It's a very
Right.
fast moving.
Fast paced, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But so what did you think about like then dealing with you'd obviously seen the movies and everything, and then Mr. Rajamouli had came to you with a very specific idea, or how did it
No,
start the whole?
actually, what happened was he had liked my first book, Asura, then Ajaya and all, and then he had called me. So he had called me. I told it a couple of times how it happened and all. It is like suddenly the call came. I just had my our college reunion. So by that time, I had
Yeah,
done the first three books, which were doing excellently well. I had three of my shows also in television, in Star, Color, and various channels.
yeah.
So now next what the question was, so in the party I kept boasting that I will get calls from Rajamouli, I'll get calls from Maniratnam, from Shekhar Kapoor, from
Right.
From Rajma, whichever name came to my mind, all the big directors' name I told. And then the call came after 2 days. The call came. I thought somebody is playing a
Right.
prank. So I had ignored the call first, and then the mail came saying that is Rajamouli sir. Then I called back asking
I
whether I can
thought,
come back immediately, and then he called me to Hyderabad. Next week I went to Hyderabad next Monday, and
wow.
I met him, and then we had a general discussion. Then he already had this vision in mind that this has to be a big franchisee kind of thing. The story should never end because a film, as he rightly told, it has got 5 hours or 6 hours, even if it is two
Yeah.
films.
Right.
But the story world is so huge
Yeah.
that only series and a big novel can do justice to it.
Like
So
an epic. Yeah. Yeah.
like an epic. This is like an epic only. So
Yeah.
it is dealing with almost 30, 40 years with multiple characters. Almost 40 characters are in the book. You know better. You have been my editor, so you know much better than me, perhaps. So around 40 characters are there. So with all those characters and the intricate this thing, I already knew. Means I was told that it is going to be a web series.
Right.
which channel, all
Okay.
those things. That time it was not decided. Now it is coming in Netflix. I think today they have announced it coming
Right.
soon.
Yeah. It's exciting. Yeah.
I think so. I was reading some news. So at such a scenario, it has to. So it became triply difficult because it
Yeah.
has to do justice to the Bahubali film,
Yeah.
and it has to create, but it should not be similar. It should not be that I just copy that and put change the name and do it. It has to give a totally different experience within the border of this Bahubali universe. At the same
Universe.
time, it should not look like film because films have their own advantage. Novels also have their own advantage, but films
Yeah.
do have their advantage of creating a great visual spectacle. So the simpler the story is, it is better for the film always,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
film is all about film is since I do scripts also, script is all about simpler it is, the better it is, and it
Yeah.
is a director's art. Being a
Yeah.
director's art, the director can create any vision, even from a simple sentence he can create any vision, whereas when you write as a book, you are the director, you are the producer, you are the actor, you are everything. You have to play the film in the people's mind and to think that people have already seen such a great visual spectacle, which was at that time one of the topmost grossing films in the world. It is also one among the top 10. So
Yeah.
what happened is the expectation level will be very high. At the same
Mm.
time, unless I create a very intricate plot, so with some complexities and layering, it will not appeal to anyone who is an avid reader. It cannot be, novels cannot be written in the way the films are written. It needs a lot of layering, and
Yeah.
it has to come to the television also. Almost it should give in the web series almost 60 hours of content.
Yeah.
60 hours of content versus 5 hours of content in the film. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
need lots of characters and lots of characters. Huh?
And not just lots of characters, but that each character is so nuanced. I mean, there's so many layers to each character, and all the instances in your book sort of bring out different aspects. Like nobody is black and white. Like even Shivagami or all of them, they're not like either really good or like, amazing, terribly bad. I think that's what's like amazing about your stories and these
It's
stories in
one of
particular.
the
That,
toughest projects I have done. It's one of the toughest projects. And the first book I had to write in 100 days. And second book I took time because initially I was involved with the series also. And
yeah, yeah,
the series, some difference will be there from the, obviously because of different medium.
sure.
Then since the series was getting, this is a very complicated one, so it was getting delayed. Then I started with the second book, and now I
Yeah.
am in the final stage of the third book. So third book is again becoming like the first book. I am rushing through in 100 days or 150 days to complete it, and you are sitting
But
on
I
it.
think I know, yes, but also I think your readers will really want to be like they. I'm
Yes,
sure they've had to wait so long for Chaturanga. Now they just probably like quickly tell us what happens next.
I think only one or two chapters, but they are the toughest chapters because I am winding them up. No, I am winding almost, it's a thousand
Yeah,
two hundred
right,
page. If you really see the entire series, it's almost
right.
1,200 page of intricate plot. So I have to at least keep it in mind, and I have to tie up each and everything. And I had
Yeah,
to do it in such a short time. So what, I'm not trying to make it like a superhuman effort or anything. Any writer will be going through all these things. But the thing is that if I don't get that right, then my
yeah,
the entire effort will go waste.
of
Everyone's
course.
effort.
Yeah,
So
but but
yeah, no, I'm not
uh,
asking for
more
getting
time.
more
No,
time.
no.
It's not a choice.
I want. I actually wanted to ask you because this is so interesting to me. Like you said, there are so many characters and so many plots and subplots. What's your writing process like for the series or in general? Did you have like the entire arc in mind for the series, or do you write as you go along? Does the plot sort of develop?
I am a what you call the panster. No, I don't plan, but what I do is I live with my characters a lot. So the characters, I just put some. What I do is I put some situation, just write random situation in my notepad or somewhere. I write 10, 15 situation and put these characters in that, and see how they will react. I don't know how they will react when I'm writing. Then
Wow.
whatever is the best process, best strongest reaction, that character's point of view, I make that chapter. who is reacting strongest in that. And then I finish the chapter and then go to the next chapter. So every
Yeah.
chapter, and when I'm making that character's point of view, you would have seen that there are 7 or 8 point of view in Chaturanga.
Yeah.
Uh, from all sides, the neutral side, the Shivagami side, the villain side. Some people, even I don't know whether they are villains or heroes, like Jimuda and a lot of characters like that. So they could turn either way. They are
Yeah.
negative, but they could turn, or positive character could turn negative.
Yeah.
So what happens is, even I am not aware what will happen in these cases. I'll leave it to the character, but I
Yeah.
keep a track. Means
Yeah.
once I write it, I put it in a postcard, something like this, and keep it.
Wow.
What has happened in that chapter.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
then I can keep a track
You
of
can
it.
refer
Then
to it.
I can
Yeah.
refer it to it.
Right.
Otherwise, what happens? It is very easy to get lost in the plot, both the reader and the writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
not, as I said, it's not an easy plot to write. Uh, it
No,
has to be.
it's
Otherwise, will not keep the interest alive. Also,
no, no. I know, but I think as a reader, it doesn't feel you can't see the effort that's gone into it, which is what makes it so great because it's such a quick, easy, like a really entertaining read. So it's not like, oh, what happened there? It's sort of all in your mind. I think it's because of the cinematic way that you've written it.
because it is what this book demands. I don't write all my books like that. Each of my book will be different if you read it. Means
Yeah. Yeah.
when I write short stories, which you have published,
Yeah.
and I think the collection you are coming up with next, hopefully after this,
Soon. Yeah. Yeah.
like Women of Ramayan, it's very reflective book. It's like it is not plot driven at all. It's totally character driven. It's more what do you call? I want the reader to pause and think after every line. So that writing style itself is different. Here, I don't want the reader to go away from the book for a moment.
Yeah.
Whereas that
Yeah.
stories which I have written for you, I want the reader to spend at least a month or 2 months reading that. That is savor every line. So every line is crafted like that. That has taken
Right.
more effort to ask me,
Yeah.
because each line has been rewritten 10 times, 12 times. Whereas here,
Yeah.
the thrust is in the speed, the thrill, the twist. So this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
more, this is a very cinematic way of writing, in the sense that this is from my experience writing TV shows and all, where every commercial break has to have a hook. Otherwise,
Yeah.
people will change the
Exactly.
channel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what they say with thrillers as well, right? Each chapter has to end with a hook, and then yeah,
So that's why each chapter is ending with a hook, because I am seeing it like a commercial break. So it's, as I said, it's out and right entertaining book with some philosophy and other things which in review to this. Without that, I cannot write. But the thrust
yeah,
is not to tie up people to think a lot on the book. For that, I got other books. So I want
right. Yeah,
those kind of readers. You cannot please everyone with every kind of book. So this is meant
no,
for entertainment. This is a
right. But I think you're right. I think there is a little bit of still philosophy and like things that make you think a little bit about people and nature and what drives people. That also
Hmm.
like the loyalty or what it revenge or yeah. But tell me who is your favorite character in the series? Like which one did you really enjoy writing?
In the series, I really enjoyed two characters. One is Shivappa, maybe because
Okay.
it has some part of me in it, the rebellion. All my books are, other books
Okay.
with me are very rebellious.
Right.
Shivappa I
Right.
enjoyed, and Jimuda I enjoyed.
Really?
Jimuda,
So the negative wish characters are the ones you enjoy
Jimuda, if you
writing.
really see, Jimuda is totally, what do you call, is a wild card. You don't know where he
Yeah.
will go. It's totally unpredictable. Even I don't know where he will go. So I was very curious to find out where this fellow is going. So this is such a wacky character. Other people
Yeah.
at least predict, okay, Katappa will behave only like this. Jimuda
Yeah.
can be noble, can be the most vicious of all. He is not like the Hidumba who is always vicious, who is
Yeah. Yeah.
nasty.
Yes.
Whereas
Yeah.
Jimuda can be sometimes, Jimuda is a genius. He knows all about ships. The second part, more of it comes.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a great. He in another society, in another time, he would have been a great, perhaps a great scientist or something, or great
Yeah.
leader. And
Yeah.
the fate or destiny has made him a pirate. He could
Right.
have been. He could have been a king. He could have various things. So that gives us an interesting character. And the third character I liked was Somadeva. the king.
Okay. Again,
More of him in the third part. Why again? Because Somadeva is the successful Jimuda. If you really, that is how I played that.
That's so interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So destiny is
Somadeva,
made king. Yeah, that's true.
once he became the king, all the nonsense he's doing becomes strategy. Chanakya.
Right.
Whereas if he's a street thug, he's a street thug only, even though he does the same thing. So these
Yeah,
are
yeah,
the
yeah.
what do you call between the lines reading tips for any readers who are hearing
Yeah,
this.
I'm sure people are interested. But how do you feel about writing the women characters like Shivagami and Ali? Like, Ali, do you feel like, and especially because Shivagami is like a huge part of it, was it a little difficult or no, it was okay? Someone
I
is
know
saying nice.
Shivagami. Actually, if you see, Shivagami is a different kind of women characters. What I have written, like in Asura, Sita is totally different. Mandodari is different. My Vanara, Tara gives a different vibe.
Yeah,
Same with Ajaya's Draupadi or whatever I have done. Even the show I did, Siyakeram, there also the female character Sita is totally different. Whereas Shivagami is a Pakka warrior princess. She has her femininity, but she has to be masculine to play this game. Because imagine a lady in a medieval India
yeah,
playing a ruthless game of power.
yeah,
Even now, it is very difficult. So once that premise itself is very interesting because it came from the film. One of the greatest visually is she sitting with the two children on the
yeah,
throne, and the commanding power. Who is this woman? Who
yeah,
is this person? That quest made me write Shivagami the way it is. So she cannot be an ordinary woman. She cannot be like one princess who suddenly happened to be on the throne. So I took her from the other side, from a woman who wants to take revenge, a
hmm,
naive girl burning with revenge, to
hmm,
someone who understands the nuances of politics. So she has many mentors. If you closely watch, she
yeah,
has many mentors in the one is Kandadasa who teaches her about idealism. Other is
hmm,
Timma, her own adopted father. Then her memories of father. Then
hmm,
most importantly, Mahadeva, who is again idealistic, and then
hmm,
Somadeva, who is not at all idealistic, who is practical.
yeah,
She becomes a product of all these influences. As the
right,
film progresses, she
yeah,
becomes a force. She becomes such a force that you don't know whether she is good or bad. Why? In the film also, she is the one who is asking her slave and the
yeah,
confidant Kattappa to kill the son who she loved most. If a
right,
woman is capable of doing that because she
yeah,
thinks he is a threat to her power, he is
right,
not obeying her. So that
yeah,
how does and history is full of such
yeah,
women. History
yeah,
is full
and
of
I guess
names.
yeah, yeah. So then in the
There are
prequel,
rumors of
we'll
many
see
powerful
stuff.
politicians who were behind the death of their sons, who were
Yeah,
growing more powerful. I know
yeah,
who I am alluding to.
yeah,
So this kind of things are a part of history, and I try to reflect history and society in whichever book I write, whether it
yeah.
is and Ramayana from the other side, Mahabharata from the other side, or Bahubali episodes.
So actually, that's what I wanted to ask you. So this whole counter telling of myths, right, which you've done so well, what drew you to that? Like from your first book, Asura, like you've always sort of tried to look at something from the other point of view. I thought that was, I mean, like, what made you do that? Like, why do you, and you
It
enjoy
is my
it.
adherence to Indian tradition. That's what I would say. It is my very very Indian roots, my Malayali roots, Kerala roots, which is
Yeah,
very very Indian.
yeah,
Which doesn't accept Indian tradition doesn't accept anything without questioning. That is what our rishis have taught us. We lost
yeah,
it in between due to
yeah,
various historical reasons. But otherwise, India, everything, even Upanishad is about as a debate. Gita is a debate. Nothing is a commandment.
yeah,
Nothing is accepted without questioning.
right.
Everything you see, every philosophy won the popularity, whether it is Buddhism, whether it is Advaita, whether it is various other philosophies, Sankhya, to various other philosophies. It was through the masters debating it, not through wars. There were no not much of crusades at least until 9th century, 10th century. Later period, there was some Shaivite Vaishnavite conflict at some part, but otherwise, major part of our history it is through debate. It is through
Yeah.
samvad.
Yeah.
Asura and all are an attempt to bring that to the table, bring it back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have this feeling that we have got too much entrenched into bhakti, the blind
Yeah.
devotion, blind
Yeah.
devotion to God, blind devotion to some books, blind devotion to some
Yeah.
saint, blind devotion to some politician, to film star. This is like a corruption of what our civilization used to be.
Yeah.
So, whereas where I grew up, it is still traditional. Traditional in the sense the real traditional, where the even the temple tales when they talk about even the temple art form like Ottantullal, it is very sarcastic in its nature. It doesn't the classical art form by Kunjan Nambiar, who can be rightfully called as the Shakespeare of India, or rather, I would say Shakespeare is the Kunjan Nambiar of England.
Right.
He because it's very sad fact that Indians don't read each other languages,
I
each
know.
other Indian classical languages books. They
Yeah.
are not translated well. Some won't
Yeah.
come for translation also. But
Yeah.
he is absolutely sarcastic. Even when it's like his Tulal, like Kalyana Saugandigam, where Bhim goes to get the flower for Draupadi, the Kalyana Saugandigam flower for
Mm.
Draupadi,
Yeah.
he meets his elder brother Hanuman. Now the
Yeah.
Hanuman, the way he teases Bhim, is pakka example of a troll. You cannot troll the Pandavas more than that. So hilarious that now if you don't attribute it to Kunjan Nambiar and you write it like that, you will get lynched. That way he
Right.
trolls, he brings out every fault of. He says you are not even you are neither men nor women because you are just sitting like this, like a pillar,
Yeah.
watching Draupadi getting stripped,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
so he from that onwards every fault of Pandavas Hanuman through Hanuman's voice the poet says it's so
Right.
beautifully so it's a part of rebellion. And from where does this tradition come? This comes from the earlier Sanskrit and Tamil tradition where
Yeah.
the poets used to be critical of even the gods
Yeah.
like Bhasa's Uribanga, Duryodhana is the hero, or the beautiful play of Bhasa in Sanskrit, Manjaratra, where there is no war. They sit over the table. It's total criticism of Mahabharata. It goes totally anti-Mahabharata, if you ask. This was written 2200 years ago.
Yeah.
There is this famous folk tale in Tamil where Shiva comes as a poet and writes a Tamil poem, and the Nakiran, the Tamil Sangha chief, he says that the poetry is flawed. This is not good poetry.
Mm.
So Shiva says, "Do you know who I am? I am Shiva."
Lot.
He says, "I don't care who you are. If it is wrong, it is wrong."
His fault.
So this is
Amazing.
just imagine the kind of I'm not glorifying that everything was hunky dory in the past. These are the examples which we should keep in the which we should know in when we are sitting in a democratic tradition.
Yes.
If a journalist goes on praising who is the ruler, whoever he may be, then he is not
Right.
doing the dharma of the journalist. So
Yeah.
this is part of the Indian tradition where the poet will stand up and tell the king, the court jester will stand up and tell the tyrant, he's not a
Yeah.
democratically elected person, that you are wrong, you are a fool. Tell the god if required. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
from where the tradition of India comes. This is actual Indian tradition. I'm not
Yeah.
telling I am a hero doing that, but I am telling I am just a follower of these countless bards of India who
Yeah.
took tales across the world and told them without fear, without worrying. And when they had to criticize gods, they criticized them. When they had to criticize saints, they criticized them. When they had to criticize society, they criticized that. So this is just a part of the Indian tradition. That's all I would say. And even in Chaturanga and Bahubali, I have done that. It is also a social critique. It reflects the society. So it has all the glories and it has all the faults of society.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But do you think that if you had written Asura today, do you think there would have been more like some kind of different reaction to it?
I don't worry. I am not worried about reaction.
Yeah.
Not that I maybe I'm very foolish. I don't know. But I write it from my heart. So Asura now has come in 15 languages. Assamese
Oh,
last
yeah,
week.
it's amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Asura is there across the world in Indonesian, a lot of languages, and every Indian language it has been accepted well. Criticism was there, but criticism was not for the way it was written. People were telling, no, no, we are at better books, or people have said, no, no, you have been, the book is too long, or too short, or too satirical, or too serious, or too non serious, 100 different ways. But never
Yeah,
about the intention of the book, because it is
yeah.
not that I just write only from. I don't write with an agenda that no, no, I have to write from Ravan and paint everyone else black. That
Right,
book,
right, right.
or the books that followed Ajaya, they were
Yeah,
written from the point of view. It's a point of view literature. When if Ravan says Rama is God and he is right, then there is no story there. Then it becomes Ramayana. So
sure,
I
right,
was writing Asura at the same time. I was writing Mahabali Hanuman also for Sony TV, which was a hit series. So
right,
it is like opposite of it. I am writing whatever I am writing for Asura. I am also writing from the opposite side.
right. Yeah,
Why the best way to, because it is because I have not understood Ramayana or Mahabharata much. The best way to understand Ramayana or Mahabharata or anything as per Indian tradition is see it from all angles. There
yeah,
has to be a Purvapaksha and an Uttarapaksha and an answer
yeah,
to the Purvapaksha. The other, one person will set a premise, other will counter argue it from all points, third person will come with a third point. This is how every system of thought has evolved in India. So I am just
yeah,
placing different thoughts. So with Ramayana itself, you can see what all I have done. One part I have written from Asura, Asura Ravan's point of view. Another
yeah,
part I came up with a short story collection which you will be publishing that is from women's point of view, which gives a different story. Then I came with Vanara, where the third empire in that, like
yeah, yeah.
Ravan's empire, and then you have the Vanara empire, what they would have thought before they became the devotee of Ram. So
Ram.
that became the third angle. Then so entirely from Sita's point of view, Siyakeram I did. Then from the
Yeah,
devotee's point of view, as in the Bhakti tradition, I did Mahabali Hanuman. That gives a fifth angle. Then
yeah.
now I'm doing for Audible the entire 300 odd Ramayanas, viewing it from multiple angles, each incident, how it is told in each.
Wow.
So this is like an ocean. So you don't, you are just nibbling here and there from
Yeah,
whatever is there. Because this has been written by so many great writers across. If you see in every language, Ramayana and Mahabharata has been written by the father of those languages, father or mother of those languages, all Indian classical language. If you see,
yeah,
this is a part of tradition. This is not just a religious book. So religion has taken a part of it, but this is much beyond that. Ramayana
yeah,
is a Pan-Asian book. Mahabharata is a Pan-Asian book. It is not just a book of. It happens that it happened in India and it became a holy book of Hindus, but it is much more than that. I'm not
yeah,
telling
yeah.
it is lesser. It is much more than a holy book. It is
Right.
much bigger than that, and we are just nibbling here and there from that. So even
Yeah.
when I write Chaturanga or Bahubali, those influence will be there because I come from that tradition, and influence will be there.
Yeah. So why do you think Indians are so? I mean, there's so many mythological books, right, and so many retellings and so many versions. Why do you think Indians are so constantly drawn to these stories?
It is not that I am constantly drawn to those stories. I am a very
So,
enthusiastic
yeah.
consumer of it, and storytelling is one method of understanding it. Now, the
Hmm.
film I am doing is also based on Puranas, which is coming soon. So this
Right.
is all what you call. These are the things which I live, breathe. So it's not like something that when I started writing Asura and all, there was no mythology book in the market except
Hmm.
those of Ramesh Menon and Ashok Bangers.
Yeah.
There was no other.
Yeah.
Now it is a. Now the problem is you are not allowed to go out of mythology. It has become like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Not that I have not written other works. I have written for Netflix. I have written Surf Road. It's a war film, which I had
Yeah.
written. And I have written episodes of Adalat. So I write cross genre. It's not that I write only this. But it is like that. No, some actors act. They take a comedy role. They become
Exactly.
a comedian for life.
Right. No, no, I was asking why you think Indian readers are so keen on just constantly, I mean, they're still so open to reading new versions of epic.
That shows the power of that storytelling. It has
Yeah,
got nothing to. There is no credit for us alone. It is not
yeah,
because we tell fantastic stories. We just show some reflection. It's like the reflected glory. We show some light to these things which are dissolved in people's ethos. It is a part of the culture. Whether
yeah,
we always say this generation is not going to, when we were young also, the parents used to say this generation is going to forget this. This
yeah.
generation, but it reinvents again and again. If you see when the
Right.
films came, people were
Yeah,
telling no, the Indian culture is going, British has come. But when films came, the first things which came in every language, in Marathi, in Hindi,
yeah,
in Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, it was based on these Puranas. When the
yeah,
language were forming, if you see when the languages were forming, when the Renaissance in Bengali, the Michael Masudan Datta did, in Tamil, Bharadiyar used a lot of things for the freedom struggle,
yeah,
Tagore used a lot. Malayalam, it came plenty. Kumaranashan used a lot. Kannada,
yeah,
Kuvempu, from Kuvempu onwards, so many people used. Marathi had a big group of literature. K. Munshi used a lot. Gujarati used a lot. So this, then the next phase came. R.K. Narayan retold it. Then
yeah,
this tale. Rajagopalachari did. Then came the period of Doordarshan. Again, the Ramayana was retold, and in our generation, it became a hit. My
yeah,
generation, we were all 7th standard, 8th standard when Ramayana and all came, and we were glued to it. Even now, when it was re-telecast, it had
yeah.
beaten even the record of Game of Thrones, the most costliest
Really, I
series.
didn't know that. Wow.
Oh, yeah, it became the most watched series when it came now again. It's a re-telecast of a 35-year-old show. And just
My
imagine the
God.
production quality of, with all due respect,
Yeah.
it came
Yeah, sure, of course.
it is a
Yeah,
tackily made. It is not tackily written, it's written beautifully, but tackily made show with that. Those are our technology. It's not their fault. That budget and this
yeah,
thing, miraculous work done. But the power of the story is at that.
yeah.
Even with that, it is able to beat a 600 million production or 700 million production coming from Hollywood in
Yeah.
number of TRP, which
That's
shows
amazing.
if we have that kind of budget, which to an extent Bahubali proved, we will be
Mm,
creating fascinating shows which can beat anything produced in the world. And which
yeah,
is
yeah,
what we are attempting to do, which is what the film which is coming, which I am doing now,
yeah,
might perhaps do, hopefully, based on this.
yeah.
I cannot tell what and when the announcement will have to come from the producer's side. But
Sure, sure.
this is, and believe me, this is not the one film. There are many things which is working in the industry. There are many films in Hindi, in Telugu, in Tamil getting ready with this kind of big budget about our mythology and history.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
books form part of storytelling in this big
So
universe.
I would just want to check if anybody has any questions for you from the audience. I think somebody was. Are there any questions? Okay. So, what's the reaction been to Chaturanga? Like, what have readers been saying? I know, like, it's doing really well in the. I know that it's. I'm just wondering if you get emails from people, from your fans, and what they're saying.
It is, people have finished it in what do you call, in 4 or 5 hours. That's the best reaction
Wow.
you can get. People
Wow.
say,
Yeah.
I have not been able to sleep. I got the book at 8 o'clock in the night, and 3 o'clock I get. When I see the time, no, they would have said it at 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. in the morning. I just finished the book from 8 o'clock marathon. That is
Wow.
the best
That's
compliment you
great.
can get. That's a different
Yeah.
kind of compliment you can get.
Yeah.
So that is a common reaction. So that way, I am satisfied in the sense that the main purpose of this book was make it entertaining, make them
Yeah.
reflect a bit, but more of entertainment. It is like watching a T20 match. So it is not footwork that is important here. It is about how fast the game goes.
Yeah. I think the footwork is pretty good too. But what about the okay? So then you want to talk about the last book when um, it's not going to take a year. We know that. So hopefully in like a few months we should have like the last of the series, right?
I think maybe another 3 or 4 days I will finish up my first draft.
Okay.
Because only one and a half chapter is left. I keep the in my whiteboard. I have cut everything. Only 2 chapters are left. Maybe it became 3 chapters to wind it up. That itself I have to rewrite. Then the editing may take a week or so,
Yeah. Yeah.
week or 10 days to have a look. Then it will come to your court, and then I don't know. It will all depend on your speed.
I can't wait to see what how you how you're tying up everything. So I'm like really waiting for it to come and reach my computer. All right. Okay. Wait. There's someone's asked that question. Balasubramanian.
How did you create the character of Ali? It is so fascinating. He's saying Ali
Yeah.
actually is a common name in many Malayalam and Tamil folk tales. Ali is a character in folk Mahabharata, and Ali rules a land of women in the folk Mahabharata, where Arjun goes and he defeats Arjun. So this is a part of the folk tales. So I picked that's what I said. No, even Chaturanga, I have taken a lot from Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Right.
So
Right.
these are all the counter tellings which are there in India, where it is a totally feminist folk telling, where both Krishna and Arjun are tied up by Ali. In the Mahabharata, Ali, she is one of the wives of Arjun. So that's a different tale which I will tell someday. So I picked up the character of Ali from there, and then once I have such an image in me, then the character I put her in this Chaturanga world, then the character writes itself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that she comes from a different world with a different morality. See, morality is very subjective, depends on which society and which time of society you live.
Of course. Yeah.
Now, had you been living in not medieval, in the 100 years back, and if your daughter is 16 years old and not married, people will be telling there is a problem. And now,
Yeah.
so suddenly, 100 years, how it has changed.
Yeah.
If you give education to a girl child, people will look at you saying that you are all going against culture. So these all definitions keep changing. It owes a lot. See, we talk about tradition, but what we'll have to see is it owes a lot to our founding fathers of Constitution also. The leap we took is huge. The leap from a feudal society seeped in many superstitions and all. The leap that the Constitution gave to us, it is far ahead of many constitutions in the world, and for that we owe to all our founding fathers, from Nehru to Ambedkar to so many people, that era. So we should not forget their contributions also. In this.
How do you? I mean, you've clearly read so much. How do you keep all those stories in your memory? I just don't understand, because you clearly read like many versions of the Ramayana, and like it's just fascinating that you can.
I don't have a memory. I had almost 16 back papers in my engineering, so that tells more about my memory.
Right.
I passed after 1.5 years since my friends had passed with a lot of difficulty. My memory is very bad. I cannot multiply 5 into 5. I need a calculator for that. That is my memory level. It all depends on the interest. I like something, it's true about anyone. No, you remember things which you love. Otherwise, you forget it. Anything which you hate, you forget it. I have forgotten everything about my engineering and maths. So,
so did your engineering to please your parents and then started writing? Is that how it was?
Engineering was a part of the fake dream that every parents sell to their kids. You might be all lucky people. You are you would have skipped that, but a lot of us. And funny thing is, most of the writers in India now are engineers. So that tells a lot about the quality of engineering, if not about the quality of writing.
Oh my goodness.
So engineering was like you had to do it because you wanted a job, and after some time you understand that job is not everything. You want to do something else, and that's how I came to writing.
Yeah. Okay, it was great chatting with you, Anand. I'm sure I and everybody else is looking forward to. I mean, whoever's watching, if you haven't picked up Chaturanga yet, you must. And the next one in the series will be out.
Yeah, please pick up. It is available in DC Books and in online DC Books online. So please do pick up. And anything is there, please follow me in my social media. You can write to me. I always respond to questions, if not immediately, but within 2 or 3 days I'll respond. You can mail to me or follow me in my social media. Everything is @it's Anand Neelakantan, ITSANANDNEEL. I think I have beaten my drum enough.
Okay. Okay,
so
thank you so much.
Read. The third book will be coming soon because she will not leave me.
I won't leave. I want to read it. So Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.